Hey everybody, welcome to His and Hers Garage. Several weeks ago my wife's 77 Volkswagen Transporter broke down on the side of the road here close to our house actually. The shift lever just went floppy on her and she lost transmission, or what seemed to be. We pulled it back home, wasn't sure what we were going to do. Actually, it wasn't too far from home. We kind of pushed it. And we actually got help from the police officer to help us push it up the driveway, so friendly policemen around here. But the cursory check didn't reveal anything other than it was very floppy. So I didn't really suspect that we had a major transmission malfunction. Probably something going on with the linkage, more than likely. But after a check underneath, I didn't really see anything that was wrong. Visually anyway, so I went on the net and was looking around at some options, and I realized that probably the problem with this is probably going to be inside the nose cone on the front of the transmission. Something's fell off or otherwise. Maybe part of the hockey stick assembly in there, or something in the shift mechanism. So everywhere online I looked to see how to get that off. Everybody said you have to pull the motor and the transmission. A couple of very adventurous people said, well, you can pull that nose cone off without taking the transmission and everything out, but it's not advisable and it would be a pain. So the rest of this video you're going to see what we did to try to solve the problem, to see if that was really what was wrong, and also of course the whole process of pulling and reinstalling the engine. So let you watch this. Maybe it'll help somebody, maybe it won't, but the information is there for everybody. So hope you like it. Thanks for watching. to see what's going on in here and why this stupid thing isn't working. I think it's bigger than that. Right. 11. Good grief. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to unplug this fan because it's really noisy. Ooh, that was really noisy.
Yeah, it's really noisy.
Okay. If we publish this online, nobody's going to want to hear that dumb thing. So we'll suffer for you.
It's only like 5,000 degrees out.
Hey, the phone's ringing.
Again?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. We have a regular phone. Okay, got all those out. We're going to tap it a little bit and see if we can't get this nose cone off of here and see what's going on with our linkage underneath.
Oh, it's peeing.
Quick, quick.
It's
I had a
peeing.
contingent for that. I forgot to put it.
It's peeing, it's peeing. There goes oh, there's do we have a new thing for that?
Not yet.
I know, but I mean, like, do you have one?
Oh, yeah. We got problems under here.
What?
Busted. So.
What's busted? Do you need my hand for something?
No.
Okay.
There we go. So the hockey stick's okay, but
Do you have a new gasket?
this plate underneath is busted. There's a bracket under there that's broken.
I'm going busted buster. Ooh, bearings.
See this? That is broke. I saw this online. Somebody had a similar problem. This goes right here.
Can you get new ones of those thingies?
I don't know how this is supposed to go. This, oh yeah, it goes in here, see? And then that goes there. That's what's supposed to happen. And these are the little gears.
Keys, as it were.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, this ball joint, that could be replaced. It would make me feel better, but this whole plate here is busted. Somebody was hard shifting.
Wasn't me.
Because this whole bracket here, I don't know if you can see this, but this whole bracket here is supposed to be one piece.
I swear it wasn't me.
It's busted off of there. It's gone.
I'm telling you, it wasn't me.
So we might be able to weld that back together.
Doesn't sound safe.
Or
Can't buy new ones?
we go to the other bus, pull the
that's
tranny out of
true.
there, and take the one off of it.
Pull the tranny. Oh, are you kidding me? We had to pull that out?
I don't know where to buy one of those. I have to look
We don't have to
online.
pull it out. Just unscrew it and let it fall, right?
Yeah, we can do that. There's no motor hook to it, so it'll be easier. I saw this condition.
Except that it's in 100 tons of weeds.
I saw this condition online. Somebody else had had the same problem. I wondered. But this bushing in here is terrible. I mean, it's just barely flopping around in there. I think we need another bushing for this hockey stick set up here.
Can you get those?
I couldn't find one, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. It just means
You
I
haven't
didn't
looked
find one.
hard enough.
All right.
Okay.
So this is supposed to go. In here like a key, you see?
Yeah. And then when you shift, it turns it out.
Come on,
It swivels it.
let's put this back. Like that. When you push forward and backwards, it goes in and out. That key there is out of alignment. I can't get it to do anything. It's going to be pried back open in order to get the line back up.
Prying. That sounds like you're gonna break something.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I hope that's not the case. It might be a little difficult since I don't have since the clutch is engaged. We'll see if it pops out of there. This is a big one. There we go.
Oh, that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Look, and I thought it was gonna be terrible.
You did. You had no faith in me, did you?
I didn't.
Where'd that little piece go? Did it fall down this wall?
Probably.
Yuck. Sure did.
Oh, your hands are dirty.
I hate it when that happens.
Poor thing.
Huh. Wonder what holds that in.
That's what I was wondering. Magic?
Yeah, because it sure looks like it would
Something's
just
gotta go.
fall out of there, doesn't it?
That'll hold it in, doesn't it?
It could be the nose cone prevents it from going anywhere. There we go, see? And then you got one gear here when you pull.
You're not convincing.
Yeah. This gets a second one and then that gets the third one. Pushes it up and down.
So it doesn't swivel?
It does. Yeah, it swivels.
How does it swivel?
Well,
So
You have to
that
take this
thing
out.
is in this thing, right?
this hockey stick. Here, pull that out of there.
I don't think it comes out. I think it's stuck forever.
It comes out.
Looks pretty
I don't know
stuck.
how, but it does.
Well,
We gotta replace that seal and everything.
don't break it.
But anyway, this goes in there.
Right.
It pulls it.
Pulls it out.
It pulls this out, whichever one it's hitting. I mean, it's neutral like that because there aren't any gears engaged, right?
I don't know.
And then when you put it in gear, these keys line up to certain ones. And open and close them. But not when they're busted.
So is it just the bracket that's busted?
Well, the bracket's busted, but
It needs a
we're
new
gonna need a
bushing?
new. I think we need a new
Bushing thing?
ball joint, ball
Swivelly
bushing
thing? Oh,
in
that
there.
swivelly thing, okay.
I've purchased, and it's on the way, a new gasket. I purchased new seals for that nose cone. And they're on their way from Bus Depot, but unfortunately that's a problem I can't fix. We might want to pull that other one out, just see what this looks like. It might have a better piece.
Right.
If it's the same, I don't know.
What?
Okay, so what we got going here is these go up and down, and as you pull on the lever back and forth, it pulls up these teeth. And one of them is for these two end ones, I think, are for different gears, like first and second and third and fourth or something like that. And then this middle one, I think, is reverse. So this has got to be able to slide freely. And of course that's broke. Now, one of the things that we found was that the bushing inside was worn. There's like a round bushing inside. I don't know if you call it that, like a pivot ball in here, see? That hockey stick piece goes into. You see that? Pivots around. And the one that was in there, it's like, it's got like a collar, a metal collar in it, and then it's plastic. And you can see that it's really balled out really bad in that hole. I don't know if you can see that very well. But the hole is really big. And so we went online and found an all metal one. Let's see if I can get it over here. It's a tight fit too. I had to grind it just a little bit to get it in there. Now it's going to give me fits. And the way these work is they just slide in. They slide in this direction and then you pivot them. You may just have to trust me on this because I can't get the darn thing out of there. There. My hands are too slippery. So there's a new one. If you can see that. It's all metal and it's uniform on both sides. It's not tapered or anything like that. And so basically just slide it in the slot sideways like that. And then twist it. There you go. Easy peasy. So now Mindy has given me a new one of these. It's always good to have parts vehicles around. So we already had another 002 3-rib transmission. It was a 3-rib instead of this 5 pyramid case one. This one's a pyramid case, I guess, because I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got like these flat spots on it, kind of in a pyramid shape. So we're going to take some time and try to put this new one on here. See if we can get that back together. Okay, so I got the new bracket on. That was just 2 bolts. And of course these teeth slide right down in these keyways. And then we're gonna, yes, the keyways all have to be lined up, otherwise this thing's gonna slide between them. You can see right now, where's my, before we put the nose cone on, we'll fix everything, but hang on a second, this thing's gonna fall.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my pry bar.
Pry
I
bar?
lost my pry bar. It's right behind me there. So right now, see, that's not going up all the way. Oh yeah, it is. Yep, that's where it goes, just like that. So the next step here, this is already, is to do something with this nose cone down here. The nose cone looks pretty nasty, and so we're going to have to clean that up. We've got a new gasket, of course. We got new bushings up here because this location always leaks, and so I bought a seal kit for it. And so we're not going to show all the cleanup on this, but we're going to get it all cleaned up, and then we'll clean the surface over here and we'll put it all back together. More later. So this piece here is called what they call the hockey stick for obvious reasons because of the shape of it. This goes through the nose cone, hooks to your linkage, your shift lever. Okay, so what this thing does is it acts as a lever to pull these keyway teeth up and down. Okay, like I said, I can't remember which is which, but these represent 2 gears each, like one in first and second, third and fourth, and then the middle one is reverse, I'm pretty sure. This fits right in here like this, and as you move your gear stick right and left, it spins this and turns that up and down and puts it in the right keyway and lines these little nubs up with the correct key. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know. We'll do our best to get you in here a little closer. Okay, so these raise up and down, and then when you pull it in and out, it raises them. It raises these up and down. So you get these lined up with the right gear. You pull it in and out, which I don't have the fortitude to do this without leverage. So we're just going to show you here, and it does this kind of thing. And it's got to be lined up right too. There we go. There, see. So when you pull this shaft out, then that keyway just came up. And then obviously when you push in, or when when you pull the shaft or pull the stick the other direction, it goes in. And so that's kind of how that works. There, it went in now. Oops, I didn't have my key lined up there. Trust me, when it's all together, it'll make more sense and work better. But that's the way it works. So we'll get this all put back together. Mindy's cleaning the nose cone, and once she's got that clean, we'll stick it back together. All right, so it looks to me like we've got to take out this bushing at the front of the shaft here. This thing, it's called just some kind of a bushing for this shaft to go through. There is a rubber oil seal in here, and you can see I've got some new pieces here. There's the bushing and there's the oil seal. Underneath here there's a guide bushing. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's a brass guide bushing right in there. You can barely see it, but we're going to have to drive that out from the other side according to the Bentley manual. So first thing we're going to do is try to take out this old one. This old shaft seal. Let's see if we can get it out of there. Should just be able to twist this thing out. We shall see. Okay, it's moving. Wow. But it's not going to come without a fight. The Bentley says, oh, just twist that out of there. Sure. So we may have to use the vise. It is doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, this is not coming out.
You don't do anything.
It moved a little bit that time.
I said that we
It did?
Yeah.
When are we launching rockets? When are we launching rockets?
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
That's what I did. How is it supposed to come out?
Alright, we're going to do some more prying and persuading and see if we can get that out. So we got a little gap. We shoved a screwdriver in this thing and we hammered it a little bit to like spread it so it came out more. We're going to try to twist it the rest of the way off. This is fun. It's not going anywhere.
Still not going anywhere. There it goes.
Tough little booger. Okay. How's that look? I don't think we boogered it up too much. So, yeah, let's clean the tip of that off and then we'll put a new one on. But before we do that, let's see if we can use this guide thing to get out this other guide bushing. Use this punch to get out the other guide bushing. Dang it. I don't think any of these bushings want to come out of here. They've been in here too long. Is that moving at all? Yes, it is. It just doesn't want to come out. Does it, Esther?
Come out.
keeps wanting to slip off. Oh, maybe it's almost out. I don't know. No, it's not almost out. It's a booger. This side just does not want to come out. Does not want to come out. I hate this.
Oh, like you hit that.
Alright, we're going to keep doing this. Alright, bushing is out. And so now somehow we got to press this new one in there. And it is spring loaded a little bit, so we're going to work on that a little bit now. And I think getting it squeezed and in there is going to be quite the task. Don't you agree? You weren't listening. This was important stuff. Alright, we're going to try to get that in there and see. We'll tell you how we did it. So we're going to try this. I used a very thin, skinny hose clamp to kind of use as a compression ring. I think it worked. I think it's going to work because you just can't get it in the hole. It's spread out too much. So you got to really compress it together. There's a slit in the middle of it. Expands too much to fit in. So I'm hoping this works. Kind of acts like a piston compressor, or ring compressor. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try it. We're going to stick it in this hole and see if we can hammer it part way and then take that clamp off there and then drive it the rest of the way with something else or press it somehow. Okay, so here's what I ended up doing. Like I said, I used a little C-clamp on it just to get the gap out of it. And then I ended up making this jig. I know, you probably don't have one of these, obviously. I had to make this, and I just kind of used some all thread and made a press. And I stuck this plate and a bolt on the other end like this and just cranked it down until it got started into the slot. So now I'm taking it apart here and I'm going to get this C-clamp off and then we'll drive it the rest of the way with the jig. Excuse me, pipe clamp, or hose clamp, not C-clamp or pipe. There you go, little pipe clamp is all I used. Now it's going in smoothly, so now we're going to stick it back together. The pipe clamp is gone. And I lost the nut. Here it is. Put that right in the center. Okay, let's see here. Put that back on straight would help. Okay. And let's see. Let's see what happens. I know you guys can't see that very well, but let's see if it starts going in further. And it looks like it is. So I'm going to cut this off and we'll cut away and we'll be done. Okay, so we got that in there just fine. You can look in there and the bushing is in there. Maybe it could go just a little more, I don't know, but that's the best I could get with my jig. So next thing we got to do is we're going to have to put this new seal inside the new bushing on the nose cone part. You can see where this seal was in there. Now you maybe could have just replaced the seal in there, I don't know, but I bought the kit, it came with the whole shebang, so we're going to go ahead and put this seal in there. And you know, I could try to hammer it or do something crazy with it, but since I just made this jig, there's no reason why we can't use it to even press this seal in like we did the other thing. So we're going to try that. this out. I left this with a lot of thread on it from the last time. We don't really want that much thread. Get out here where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And now we got a lot of turning here. There we go. It should allow us to thread that in there nice and even. Almost do it with your hand, although it's not going in exactly straight yet. So let me get something to drive that. Which should be a 7/16. And we'll do this slowly, and hopefully it'll go in straight. Come on. It's not going in super straight. This needs to be straightened out a little bit. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. And seemed to work pretty well. Could be driven in there just a little bit farther, but I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, next thing we know we're going to do is to stick it in here. Now this has got a couple of burrs in it, which I don't like. I think we scraped the side of it just a little bit when we were trying to get the old ones out. So I'm going to clean that up real quick. I'm going to blow some compressed air in there, and we'll be right back and we'll drive this thing. Okay. I did put a little oil on it, just so maybe, whoopsie, just so maybe it'll go in a little smoother when we do this. Oh, wow. It's going to be a booger, isn't it? And how are we going to do it? You guessed it. We're going to use our jig again. Press it in. And more screwing this nut on. If I was smart, I would have cut this all thread down a lot smaller. But you never know when you might need a certain length of all thread, so why cut it? Okay. And here we are again. Now my socket isn't nearly that long. I'm going to pull this up just a little bit so my deep well works on the other end. I'm sorry, this is not the greatest cinematography. We're just getting our sea legs a little bit on this, but can you see that? Alright, so hopefully we will be driving this home here in a second. Okay, I think we're about there. Okay, let me get it started. Okay, so far we're not quite straight. Make sure we get this straight. Yeah, it's getting there. I'm going to loosen this just for a second and move this a little to the center. Alright, I think we're about there. So, let's put a wrench on this side. See if we can get that guy turning there. And you can see it's going right in. Okay, that's good. There we go. It's in! New bushings. I'm hoping this really helps the shifting on the car with the slop, you know? I'm replacing all the bushings on the shift linkage as well. I bought a new set of those, that's why I have all these. And those will work well on the shaft. So I'm hoping that in combination with all these other new bushings really tightens things up quite a bit. So yeah, so he's going to go in there and we'll have to drive him in a little bit so he's nice and tight. And with that other ball joint bushing, I think we'll have some pretty tight shifting here in the future. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay. So we got it all back together. Here's the, I can't see a thing. Here we go. Here's the hockey stick in here, and it's spinning freely. It was a little tight. Didn't want to move, and so we had to put it in the vise and push it in and out and crank it just to loosen it up. Want to make sure that was going to be right before we put it in there. So we got a fresh gasket on here. And Esther is helping me hold this stuff, weren't you, dear? Okay, here, hold that. That's my daughter. It's all in the family Volkswagen work here, folks. Okay. Now, this could be a little tricky to get in, it looks like, especially since I grabbed the wrong one.
Loser.
Okay, over here. And this goes. Come on. Right there, right there. Now this thing's going to want to fall out because it's actually the nose cone that holds that pin in. I got a little grease on it, so here, let's see what happens. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to push this in a little bit so it'll fit through the hole. So I'm going to have to go in a little more. There we go. There we go. I know you can't see this very well, but you got to fit the end of that cone in, or into the hockey, and the hockey stick has to go through the round bushing. And then, hang on a second, we had a little blowout here. Oh, a little pin underneath came out. Let's push it, let's pull it out again.
That is fluid that was
There we
Should have had something underneath it to catch it.
You gotta hold that pin underneath, otherwise it's gonna fall out. There we go.
Huh?
Is that what it's supposed to be doing?
Yeah, let's put a couple of nuts on there.
Esther? You see the nuts? Oh, the nuts up there?
Yeah, not.
Let's put one on the top here so the cone doesn't fall off.
Huh.
We know this is very dirty. We're planning on taking it and power washing it really good. If we can. Can I come?
No.
I think this thing weighs a ton, so it's going to be a little bit of a logistics problem to get this thing outside where we can power wash it.
It is going to go in the truck, and it's only a two-seater truck.
Yes. We'll probably video that too. That'll be the ordeal.
Interesting.
That'll definitely be interesting. Everybody see our single cab too. Okay.
You guys are going to come back in like
There we go.
5 minutes.
Now.
5 minutes, and it's going to take more time.
Maybe even an hour.
What's supposed to be moving?
Well, I suspect it
Well,
should. Okay, here's a moment of truth. We're going to see if this thing works. Might take a few cranks though, because your fuel lines are all empty right now.
obviously.
Alright, let's see. Almost sitting here. Hey, your fuel gauge is going up a little.
Okay.
Barely at all though.
I told you there's not anything in there. It's shaking a little. Hey, you're shooting black stuff at me.
So we ran into a little problem on the front linkage shaft on this transmission, and as it turns out that if you use an earlier transmission on a later bus, that this is too short. So this is where the shift lever ball goes into to move it around. Well, this bus is supposed to have an 091 transmission in it, which is longer, and we're using an 0025 rib pyramid case, so it's a little bit too short for this. So what the previous owner did was, there is a locking ring that goes on the end of this that you put on, and then of course you screw in the little chisel nut here, what I like to call it, and then the rear shaft goes into here and locks into place. Well, it's too short, so what they did, in all their genius, is they cut or drilled a second hole. It's supposed to go in that hole right there. They drilled this one out here on the end to make it a little longer so they could scoot it out a little bit. But if you can see, that wall there is super thin, and that's going to break, and it is going to leave us stranded someday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to lengthen this and put some extra. I saw online where a guy used 13 millimeters in Australia, and so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to extend that, and then also I'm going to try to weld this first hole back shut so that it gives it a little more strength and support on that original hole. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so here's what we came up with on this. You can see that there's like a little section I welded in here to make it just a little bit longer. And like I said, thanks to Shed Torque on YouTube for this little tidbit of information. He made his 13 millimeters long, so that's what I did. And really the way I did this was I used a pipe cutter here to make it nice and clean and smooth, going around it and just cutting that off. But before I did that, I used a scoring tool, and I made a line with a ruler just right across so I could line it up right here. And I know you probably can't see that, but I scratched a straight line in, so then when I put this back together, I twisted it until the line lined up to get it straight. And for me, I just used a piece of stainless steel pipe I had from something else. I cut off a little section. It was perfect fit inside both sides. I just cut a little piece of it off, and then I welded it in there, and so it worked pretty good. And of course on this end I had to get rid of that other hole, and so I welded it shut and had to go inside and clean up, but I think that's going to be a lot stronger there. I may have to clean that hole up a little bit, but we'll put it on and we'll see what happens, see if it works. Alright, just another little tidbit for reference. The reason you have to extend this is because on the vehicle in the later base, there's actually a bracket on the body that this end is going through, like this, and, sliding back and forth in the bracket with a nylon bushing on it. If it's too short, when you shift into first, it just pops out. That's not what you want, so let's try it out. Feel free to like and subscribe.